to another edition of Mortgage Talks. I'm your host, Adam Hires. Boy, I tell you, it is a beautiful day in December. 2021 is upon us. Remember today, guys, if you have not already understood that what you're doing today is affecting your 2021, you're late to the party. You got to get out there. It's a 90-day burn. What you're doing today is going to affect you 90 days from now. That's going to be producing the volume you need. So you have to continuously go out there. Right now, I'll talk to my guest here in just a second, but as we're talking beforehand, he's like, yeah, how's the mortgage game going? And I heard it's going great with so many people. And my biggest thing is a lot of people are lying to themselves right now, lying to themselves because they think that their business is sustainable. It's great. But listen, I'm going to tell you right now, again, I talked about this before. Take your business right now. Now, I need you to take out all the refinances and then multiply it by 0.75%. That is your number if you sustain and keep doing what you're doing, because you cannot count on the refinances. It can just turn off just like that. And I'm not saying you're not going to have some, but that's the mentality you have to have. And you also need to think every year you have got to get at least 25% better to even maintain. Okay, so don't tell yourself the lies that everything's okay. You don't need to get better. You know how things work. I've been doing this for 10 or 15 years. Listen, are you going to create legacy? Are you going to create real impact and real money for yourself, for your family? And you owe it to yourself, your family, your team to grow every single day. Remember, go to hirescoaching.com, get your free 12-week business transformation playbook. Get in there, dive in. Just understand what you need to do to make 2021 the absolute best year ever. So we got a great guest on here, and a lot of times I talk about, mortgage industry. A lot of people just talk to real estate agents. That's it. They don't want to talk to real estate agents. There's so many other paths to the cash, to partner with people, to help your client. And really, if you just look at how can I add value to my client, you're going to find out there's a lot of partnerships out there for you to grow your business and help your client to the fullest. Not just do a mortgage with them, but also help them set up to gain long-term sustainable wealth. So I have my man on here, Rob Gill, and I want to introduce him. And Rob, what's going on? What's good with you?
Hey, what's up, Adam? Thank you so much for inviting me onto your show today. I'm honored. I'm excited, and I can't wait to chat with you and see where it takes us.
Absolutely. So, Rob, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do?
So, I'm the founder of Epic Financial Strategies, which is a two-tier company. I grew up in a urban area of New Jersey. Blue collar. My dad was a police officer, and he worked 3 jobs to take me through high school and college. And my parents had really limited, if not zero, financial education. And as a result of that, I always remember being a little kid. My dad would always look at whenever I opened up my dad's top drawer, there would be lottery tickets, because I think that's how he felt he'd get financial freedom. And I remember just growing up thinking, I don't want to be like that when it comes to money. I wanted to be educated. I wanted to share the same characteristics of how he loved me and my siblings and his work ethic, but I wanted to be educated on money. So the approach that Epic takes, Epic stands for Empower, Protect, Integrate, and Coordinate. Our approach is to provide world-class education, blue-collar mindset. We're here to serve individuals, business owners, entrepreneurs, corporate executives, family-oriented people that are looking for proper planning. And for us, it's really about understanding how to communicate for each and every client in simplistic educational programs where, they have the same benefit of the super wealthy, where the super wealthy have all the different financial planners on the same page for the benefit of the client. And we've built in a program to be able to do that, whether it's the mortgage officer, the trust officer, insurance agent, banker, fiduciary, estate attorney, accountant. If we can create that space for each individual to have that access, what we're doing is something pretty special, and that's our daily outcome.
Nice. So that's I love the why there. You know, you have, I guess, you know, you seen it, you know, firsthand, and maybe didn't wasn't working for, you know, being passed down in generation to know how to build your wealth. And I think that's, you know, that's a very common, people just don't have that education. Um, you know, when they obviously don't have it at school. I mean, people don't know how to build their wealth, right?
Yeah, they don't teach it in school.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely should be the case, right? Should have a little bit of little, at least get people's mind working a little bit to at least search out people like yourself for sure.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So you talk about, you know, what's been going on, why, like what's been the biggest transformation you feel like in your own life and maybe to others that this, you know, this path that you've taken has generated?
That's a great question, and thank you. So, if for me, you know, there's layers in that answer, and what I'll try and do is articulate it as simply as I can. I started working on Wall Street in the late '90s.
Okay.
It was really, it was working on the telephone every day, opening brand new accounts. Um, you know, cold calling and purchasing stocks. So when you think of the Wolf of Wall Street, when you watch that movie, whenever they were making a sale, they weren't actually buying stocks. They were basically robbing the people. But that environment, which was like call center environment, boardroom environment, is what I grew up in. Except we were buying Microsoft, Apple, companies like that. So we were having that enthusiasm and that energy created. If you worked the phones every day, like we did, 300-400 dials a day, we were able to build a little bit of a business. The challenge was when it comes to planning, it's just not all about stocks, but I didn't know that at that time, right? So like anyone out there that's just in the real estate game, and you said something so powerful before when you talked about take all the refis off the table, right? And then look at that number and then multiply that by 0.75, right? That should be your baseline, right? Your blueprint. Well, you know, I remember back in March of 2000, we were opening stocks on internet stocks. You know, people were buying internet stocks that were going from like 10 to 100. And I remember the guy that used to cut my hair was giving me referral recommendations, you know? And at that time, I had all my money tied up in internet stocks. But then all of a sudden they went, you know, they just collapsed. So that was a lesson for me to be able to diversify within and amongst asset classes, right? And not just be a guy that, you know, presents stocks over the phone and then takes money and buys stocks, just like not to put all your money in real estate. You want to diversify, be able to protect yourself when winter comes. For us, for me, what I did was I began to seek out better teachers and people that could show me how to create that balance. So when winter did come, and it just came with COVID, still here, because we had an economic philosophy first, and because we had goals and objectives, and we're able to put together the right kind of balanced strategies, you know, we were able to thrive in the most uncertain times that I've ever seen in my life.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, well spoken for sure. So you said you had you went through cold calling, and I tell you that probably taught you some lessons, right? And
Yeah.
got some thick skin through that, right?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I started in 1996 and I stopped in '03. I opened up 3,000 accounts. I heard every no, but there's really only 5 no's, but I heard every no under the sun. And what you begin to realize, if you're making 400 dials and you're actually contacting 70 people where you could speak for more than a minute or two, of those 70, 3 to 4 would say yes every day. Now, if I got those 70 on the phone and I was tired and I didn't have the proper tonality and speed cadence, then I'd have a 0. So not only did you have to dial, right, but then you had to be alert, nervous system, you know, being in your peak state and being able to bring it on a daily basis. And there was really no time for marriages, girlfriends, kids. At that particular point in my life, it was full immersion. And you begin to sense, you know, default no's, people just to say no, and how to really work through those, through that process, which led me to where I'm at now, and being able to understand whether it's, Amazon, whether it's Salesforce or anything in the world, there's a salesperson on the other end of that phone. Sales is what really makes this economy go, right? It's the lifeblood line. And if it's baked in integrity-based human influence conversations and language, you could build a really cool business.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you said it. I mean, it's not about. I mean, I think you went through a lot of that. Just probably, I'm sure, the trickery and the try to, probably was taught incorrect of how to sell, and then through time you probably found out what one really works, and then also study the craft, right? Because it sounds like you studied that your craft, right? I mean,
and being able to do it with integrity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So divorcing yourself from the sale to
Mhm.
really best thing for the client with integrity. And you're not taught that day one. You're just taught like, hey, get on the phone, make sales. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not taught understanding different asset classes, how to diversify within and amongst to make things work.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying exactly right. Integrity selling is number one. I've always said sales at its finest is really just helping people. Really, that's all it is. It's helping people either educate people, or it's helping them make the decision where they should have made a decision. I mean, that's a lot of self. It's all love too, right?
That's right.
If you're selling somebody, even if you're selling somebody, people think, well, I'm not in sales. Well, you may even sell like your family member on like making a change of not to smoke cigarettes all the time, or not to eat everything, not to eat bad because their cholesterol's up. But you're getting them to move the needle before it's too late, before there's real disruption in their life. And so it's the same thing with finances, right? You've got to kind of flip that switch and to getting them to open up to what else is possibility, how they need to make a change now and just diversify and all those things, because that's really what's a beautiful thing is in sales. It's a lot of people have the negative connotation, but that's because there's a lot of bad people trying to sell. But really, at its finest, it's loving people, valuing people, and making sure that they're taken care of.
Well, Adam, that couldn't have said it better myself, brother. Integrity-based human influence is heart-centered, and then the numbers are behind it, right? And if you lead with love, and even with my two sons, 15 and 14, it's not just saying, hey, listen, we have the basketball trainer Monday and Thursday, the strength and conditioning trainer Tuesday and Friday, and persuasively, transferring that message. That's one thing. As a parent, they're going to say yes because they quote unquote don't have a choice, but having them want to do it is really the difference, right? So not only is it persuasive communication, but them owning it and wanting to do it. As an example for me in my world, just when it comes to my kids, same thing with my daughter when it comes to, obviously we me and my wife Janice raise our kids with school first, but the point is to be able to have them want to do it, through influence and persuasion. Yeah, it's the same thing with mortgages, right? I mean, look, you go back 10, 15 years when they were doing those cozy and coffee loans, right? That wasn't the best thing for people, but there's certain people in your industry that may have started at that point that didn't know any better, Right. No one taught them, hey, look, this could be dangerous if interest rates go higher. Thank God they really didn't, for those loans. But, at the end of the day, we know what happened in 08. And, I can tell you one thing I didn't anticipate when COVID first hit. I already knew what I did for a living. Like I was cool with where we were. I had no idea that in our area that real estate was going to skyrocket the way it did. I'm in New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan, but it did because, I'm just going to shut my phone off. It did because people were leaving Manhattan to come to New Jersey. Couldn't anticipated that, right? So all the new folks, to your point, in the business that could be doing really well right now, they need to bank up and need to prepare themselves because there is going to be another side to this. We don't know what it's going to look like, but it is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot of things to keep uncovering. I mean, a lot of people are having happenstance good numbers, but just keep diving in, right? I mean, there's it just like what you do. It's not happenstance that they're growing their wealth. Let's really dive in and figure out where you really need to place your money and how you need to diversify. It's the same thing in business, because if it's just, well, people are moving here more, that's good. But I mean, one of my biggest irks, right, is like people say, well, they're too busy, or they can't take on more clients now. Or it's like, no, you're not too busy. You don't have enough staff, right? You're not preparing for the flow, because on the other side of that, you can take more market share, and you can even grow more. So people just step over money and really don't maximize what they could do right now, because it's like, well, okay, how much else can I put into the business? Let's not just kind of let it happen. But yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of, obviously, mortgage loan officers are on here. There's all other entrepreneurs, people that listen. So first of all, like, where do you mostly derive a lot of your business from? Like, where's it? Obviously, you got probably different buckets. Do you have people that refer you in business? Do you have mortgage professionals that refer you business? I mean,
Yep. So for me, back in 2015, I read Tony Robbins' book, Money Masters of the Game. And what I realized, what was so interesting, because, Tony's on stage 200, 300 times a year, right? 240 times a year. And in that book, he disrupted the financial services industry, and he separated the fiduciary, which is a Series 65, from the Series 7 person. And what he was saying is the Series 65 has to, for you, Adam, when it comes to the money management wealth side of the table, they have to put together portfolios that are in your best interest, right? And that kind of rocked the world for people that had Series 7s, because if you're a Series 7, we just got to make sure that you have, that you're suitable. Now, Rob Gill does not have a Series 7 or a 65. I'm not a fiduciary, but there is a fiduciary arm of Epic. So when I read that book, I realized, wow, Tony Robbins is on his stage, and people that listen to Tony go right to creative planning, and they look for a free consultation. So I said, how could Epic do that? How could we do that? And I remember thinking, wow, can I ever make Tony Robbins a partner? Let me fast forward. I never did. However, that thought led to partnerships that I now have, which are called ecosystem mergers. That's what we call them, Adam. And from 2019 until today, we went from 8 meetings to 30 meetings to 150 meetings to November. We just had 600 new sales meetings. And this month through ecosystem mergers. And one of them is the founder of a company called Unblinded. His name is Sean Callaghy. Sean Callaghy is the founder of the language that I've been talking about today, integrity-based human influence. He created a map and a language strategy on how to communicate with love and integrity to folks. And that ecosystem merger led to another one with a gentleman by the name of Chris Crone, who, if you look on YouTube, he is a top 20 worldwide influencer, has 600,000 subscribers, and what he specializes in is peak performance coaching and real estate. We merged with Chris as well as Sean, and because of those ecosystem mergers, it's led to a massive flow of opportunities, which, as we circle into 2021, to your point, we are now beginning to take those relationships to another level through full-scale organic social media integration between platforms, training and educational programs.
Nice. Well, you took the opportunity and you thought bigger, right? I mean, that was a big part of it. You just, where else can we take it? And it's I tell you, that's I don't know about you, but for me, that's where the business becomes fun. You're always those vision, like, oh my God, you stumble and then you're like, wait a second, well, I can do this. And to your point, you didn't land your quote unquote target because you didn't get Tony Robbins or whatever, but like, it opened up the door. What else can I do? And then all of a sudden now you're just building this layers. And I tell you, I mean, that's a beautiful thing, how quickly that turned once you start trying to, you're just connecting, right? It's at a different level, and you're getting these big partnerships, and you're hanging out with the right people to leverage and get you in front of the people. And now it's just growing at a crazy clip, it sounds like. Yes,
it is. It's all good, but it's definitely moving very fast right now.
Yeah. It's kind of like Grant Cardone says, right? Like, just keep, if keep growing until you have other problems, right? Just keep it, it's like, that's when you're growing really good, is you got other problems now. So
yes, yes, exactly. That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. But, like anything, you always have problems. It's either you either have problems, you don't have enough money, or or enough deals or whatever, or you have problems because you have so many deals, right? And you got to figure that out. And it's just, I'd rather be making money and creating legacy and creating impact for others and have that problem than others. So
yes,
that's a beautiful thing. So
yes,
I think we stay in a sweet spot for like a half minute, right? It's like all of a sudden it grows enough. We got everything. It's like this is going good, and it's like, oh, we're hitting another lid now. Oh, this is okay.
Yep.
So,
yep. And you deal with a lot of uncertainty, and on the other side of uncertainty is massive acceleration.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, so if people on here and they're like, okay, is there things you feel like where would you help maybe a listener on here, or what maybe some advice you'd have to a listener or whatever? I just want to make sure that we connect you with enough good people as well, because you're doing good things.
Thank you. So the first thing I would tell anyone that's listening is you want to really get an economic philosophy. Like, what is your economic philosophy, right? What have you been taught about money? What is your feelings about money, right? People want more, let's call it money and time freedom, not because of dead presidents on pieces of paper, but because of what it could get them, right? Some people want to save the world and take all that money and put it back into saving the world. Some people want to go on vacation. Some people want to spend more time with their family. Whatever the case may be, what is it that you want? Why do you want it, right? And then we'll show you how to do it once we establish what your economic philosophy is. That's the first thing I would share with folks. And then everything we do, we help folks build out their personal financial website so they can monitor and measure and be able to make clear decisions when it comes to investment opportunities, whatever they may be.
So there's again, sake of Mortgage Pro out there. Mortgage Pro right now is like, hey, you know what, I want help with my financer, to grow my wealth, et cetera. Yep. They would get with you or your team, and they would be able to help them with that plan.
Yeah, what I would do, Adam, just because I'm so grateful to be on the show, anyone that came from your show, we would do a free audit, look under the sun, sign an NDA, so no obligation, and anybody that really wants some consultation, we'll provide it for them.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you being on the show for sure. No, so I love what's going on here, but I love the growth that's happening, and is there like right now, because we all have it, like I have it as well. This is maybe a tough question, but like what right now is like almost holding you back from that next type of to break off the lid? Because we always have that, like for me, I have that, and we all have that in our head. Like there's something, of course, sometimes we need those coaches to kind of bring us out of it. Because you've shown this great expansion, and I'm sure you can even talk to what you did have a lid on yourself, and then you overcame that as well. Because I love to hear that progression, because there's people on here right now that have the same type of things, right? They're doing 5 loans a month. They don't think they can do 15 or 20. It's like, how's that look? I can't. Not only can I not do it, but I can't. How's that going to look for me and my family? And I'm going to have to work like 24/7 and stuff. And that's actually not the case. But what have you broke through the barrier now? And what is something maybe you feel like you have to break through the next thing to get to where you want to go?
That is a phenomenal question. That first starts with whenever we're in that situational ceiling of complexity that you just described. That's a repeated pattern, right? Like, you take that next step, and then you create these new challenges. And then how long do you want to stay stuck in those new challenges before you take that to go to the next step? And it really lies into a couple of different things. Asking yourself an empowering question, right? So if I want to make an effective change, what I need to do is ask myself an empowering question, right? But I need to disrupt my pattern first. So if I could disrupt my own pattern, define a challenge in solvable terms, meaning don't just say, hey, why am I stuck in this? Say, why am I stuck in this? And create, at least write it down, certain things I could do to get unstuck, right? And then replace a negative powering thought with an empowering thought, and then start to test it, right? And be able to be attached to something bigger than myself. Whenever I'm attached to something bigger than myself, partnerships, ecosystem mergers, and I don't make it about me and my emotion, but I make it about something bigger, that's always a great way for me to break through. And by the way, as I break through, I still get stuck into other things because but the real question is, how can you quickly work through those progressions that may have lasted in the past 6 months or 3 months that now maybe last 30 days, 15 days, or 7 days. And that's some of the things that we really work on. And for me, biggest thing has been transformational vocabulary, meaning I think there's like 75, or I'm not sure. Let's say there's 75,000 words in the dictionary. Could be 700. I could be off on that, but I know 4,000 of those words are attached to emotions, and I know 70% are negative. And I know that we use habitually daily about 200 words over our life, maybe 2,000. If we could focus in and zero in on our daily habitual vocabulary, because each word has meaning, right? Transformational meaning. And if we could break those words that keep us down and replace them with words that could lift us up, that's been very powerful for me. Very powerful.
I love it. I love the first where you talk about attaching it to something bigger than yourself. That is absolutely, man, that's a very powerful message. And certainly, as I look through, my goals, and every time I've hit something, it has been, the bigger vision outside of myself and how this affects other people and all this other things that go along with it. I think that's very powerful what you said.
Yep.
By the way, a shout out, Unblinded, right? Is what it is.
Unblinded. Yep.
I've looked up his stuff before. Very good. He's, I think he's possibly coming on the show as well. But anyway, I've looked up his stuff. Very good. So, if y'all want to check out that as well, audience, very good. But yeah, I love that. And also just empowering messages yourself and getting stuck. And you really said a good nugget there, which is you talk about basically before you may get stuck for a year, now you get stuck for 6 months and you're kind of rolling it back. That's what I think that, I have found, and I think really people need to listen up so much more, is that as you progress and as you keep working on yourself, it's not that you don't get stuck. It's just, it's like getting in really great shape, right? If a boxer gets knocked down and before he couldn't get up, but now he's in such impeccable shape, he's able to get up. You're able to recover faster from things that go wrong. And so it's not that you don't make mistakes. It's not that you don't get stuck. It's that you just recover. And now you're bringing that timeline back for how long it affects you, et cetera. And that's the thing, is because we're constantly resetting, because I've noticed in myself where it used to, again, like you said, get stuck. And now it's like, you're bringing that timeline back.
Yes.
All get stuck. It's okay. Don't feel it's frustrated because you get stuck. Just keep working on it, because those time periods are going to keep reducing as you get better and better and keep working on yourself.
Exactly. Thank you. And you're right about that. And it's really about, for me, to be able to be aware of what you just described, I had to be around people that had been where I wanted to go. So if I'm going to model somebody, I don't want to model average. I want to model the best.
Yeah.
And that's been powerful.
Oh yeah.
So if I have an accountability partner, he's got to be somebody that, or she, that has been just phenomenal in what they did or do. And by the way, tell your folks to check out Chris Crone on YouTube, because if anyone does mortgages, he's a big real estate guy.
Okay.
So it's KrisKrohn, Chris Crone.
Thank you. Yeah, check that out. I'll check them out as well. That's great. I mean, always looking for good people to follow, and some people we have as mentors that are close to us, and sometimes we have outside mentors that are kind of just following and trying to be better. And it's just amazing how much the mind can expand, right? Of what we can accomplish, what we can do, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be or where I will be, and that's the most beautiful thing out there. Growth is the lifeblood of getting up and grinding and having fun, because without having with feeling like you're already done and there's no growth to happen, all we're doing is dying. So
yes, well said.
Yeah,
well said, Adam.
Yeah. So what before if we cut out, where can we find you? Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody for listening. And if anybody is looking to have a conversation, no obligation, you can check us out at Epic Financial Strategies.co, not .co. So it's Epic, EPIC Financial Strategies.co. And I'd love to have myself or one of my team members talk to you.
And we can find you on all the platforms pretty much.
Yes, you can see us. Once again, if you go to YouTube, check us out on YouTube. We're pushing free content every day, which is Epic Financial Strategies. Same thing on Instagram and Facebook, as well as LinkedIn. It'll be Rob Gill Rob Gill Epic, because we're shifting from Epic to Rob Gill, just so you know.
Okay, awesome.
But for now, that's how they can find us.
That's awesome. So everybody on here, reach out. I mean, another amazing guest that can really help you with a lot of areas, right? I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of content, and he's leading with value is what I always tell people is keep leading with value, and give it all away, because guess what? They still can't put it together, right? Give it all away.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing, right? There's like Gary Vaynerchuk's of the world, right? It gives it all away, but guess what? You're not going to do it because you get stuck too, because you don't know how to put stuff together. So we just
right.
But there's a lot of content to start getting your mind, conditioned for. There is more out there. There's more out there for you. There's more out there for all of us, and growth is in your future.
Absolutely. Yes. Well said, Adam. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
Robert,
you for today's opportunity.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. So we'll continue to connect, guys. Get on there, check them out, and we look forward to throwing this podcast out there. And thank you so much for being on, Rob.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Remember, guys, limited risk equals limited income.